Welcome back to Robin Reviews. Today I want to talk briefly about the Goldeneye remastered on Nintendo Switch. Um, like most, probably, this is one of, if not my favorite games growing up. The reason it's a little blurry for the ammo is because I wanted to get a good view of what it would look like holding it on the Switch. So here's the thing. I'm going to give not a full review of every level, but I want to give a general feeling on what I have. So the first thing I wanted to point out, as you might know if you're into this game, is that button mapping is all over the place. Now, there are YouTubes that do a great job of explaining how you can get back to having the buttons where you'd want them to be, or where you're more familiar with them. I'm not going to go over those same steps because I don't want to duplicate other people's work, but it's not hard to find if you just look up button mapping for the N64 GoldenEye Remastered. It is there, and they do a great job of walking through those things. Once you do that, though, once you take the steps to do it and you save it as button mapping, it does become like the original game, with strafing and reloading and shooting and all those things. So that part's great once you get past the buttons. And in terms of loading up the game, when you go through when you get the Nintendo N64 app, and you actually go into it as you normally would. It's as if you're playing the N64 game. The steps, everything you'd have is as if you're playing like you would on the N64 when you were younger. So I did some research because I have both an Xbox and a Switch, and so when they said they're coming out for both, I wanted to read the difference, and I knew that I'd get probably better graphics a little bit on the Xbox, but one thing I read is that you can play online with friends. Now, that's true, but personally I think it's a bit of a misleading statement. So, and to be clear, I'm still really glad I got the online membership to be able to play this. But when I read play online with friends, I thought I kind of allowed my brain to go forward a little bit, and I thought, I get to play multiplayer online. Now, one of my biggest gripes about this game from day one in 19 whatever is that I wish you could play the multiplayer mode against computers. The multiplayer mode on GoldenEye is fantastic. My favorite, in case you're wondering, is probably lasers or proximity mines, as long as I remember where I put them. But I always wish you could play against the computer, because I was quite a bit younger than my brother and sister, and I'll be honest, I didn't have a lot of friends in school, and I didn't have my own N64. But when I eventually did, it was hard because I play by myself, and you have one option, and that is the solo mode. And so when I thought, I can play online multiplayer, that's great. And you can, but against friends. And so when I read that, I thought it meant I could go on the Switch, I could go on the multiplayer, and I could connect with other people around the world, and I could play, which is only offered on the Switch. That's not the case. You can play the multiplayer online with friends. So you have to have your friends connected. They have to have the game, and you can play against those friends. Not anybody, those friends. Now, they might change it one day, but that's where it is right now. So that's the biggest drawback. I've seen some people complaining online that the graphics are still quite similar, and they are. To be honest with you, if I kind of remove myself from this just based on the graphics alone, I'm not even going to save this. Shoot the hostage. Nope. Did I save him? I love how in this game, it's hard to talk and play. Oh, no, I didn't save him. He is dead. Definitely dead. I've read people online who wish that the graphics were better. That they had updated them so you'd actually felt like you're playing on a system in 2023 and not as if you're playing on in the N64 again. But to be honest with you, I think that's one of this game's strengths. I think you're not looking at a remake, you're looking at a remaster. You're making it so you can play the original game today. And that's what you get to do. And so I think that's actually a strength. I think it's very retro, very vintage feeling, and you get transported right back to your childhood. I did notice, so I have the Pro controller, which is, if you're wondering why I was just able to do a terrible job trying to save that hostage, although I wasn't really trying. Although I will say that the frigate level, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, is my favorite level in the game. When you're doing the button mapping, it's a lot easier and more familiar to play on the Pro controller than it is trying to play like with the Joy-Cons attached like it is here. I don't know why. It should be the same thing because the buttons are the same, but there's something that's more familiar about the feeling of having the controller closer together in your hand like you get with the Pro controller. So yeah, that's, I mean, I don't want to do a whole overview because there's people who've done it before. I do think it's worth it, but at the same time, if I really kind of back away from things, I'd have to ask myself, is it worth it? And the only reason I ask that is because you pay, I believe it's $59.99 Canadian for the year to have the online membership. And that's the only way that this game's available. And so if I'm going to be honest about it, is it worth it to spend $60 a year to play this game? No. But then you have to take your brain a step further and ask yourself, is it worth it to play all the games? And so, I mean, and that's still questionable. But, and I have a couple of them so far, but if you go through, I'll see if I can get into it actually. If you go into the Nintendo shop and you look at all the different things you can download because you have the online membership, it is pretty impressive. So you can download, I'm trying to remember all the ones you can get right now. I'm not going to be able to find it either. But, oh, there it is, Nintendo Switch Online. And so when you go onto Nintendo Switch Online, it shows you what you can play. And my internet apparently has decided to not behave today. There it is. So you can play Game Boy Advance, N64, Classic Game Boy, Original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and somewhere, I believe, also Sega Genesis. There it is. And so what that means is any games they've loaded onto this from any of those systems, you can play. So let's, I'm going to use an example here. I'm going to go back to the main screen, and I'm going to go over. See, I know, this review is supposed to be about Goldeneye. Now but this is part of it, because part of the way to get Goldeneye is to get this membership, and so you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? So you have to know the full picture. Now, you're not just getting GoldenEye. For that year, you're getting access to a treasure trove of the original games. And again, now it doesn't help that it's blurry. So I'm going to zoom out so we get a better... I'll say what a bunch of these things are. And so, sorry that but you're looking at... NES Open, Solomon's Key, Dodgeball, Legend of Zelda. And when I say Legends of Zelda, if you know all the different Legends of Zelda and all the different systems they come out on, you can play them all. And so after I finish GoldenEye, can I say I'm not going to go and play Ocarina of Time? No, I can't say that, because who wouldn't do that? So you're getting a lot. Again, I still think, you're going to ask yourself, is it still worth it? Because you are going to spend $60 every year. You're going to say no. But I guess my question for anyone watching is, imagine what the cost would be if Nintendo said, okay, we'll make all these games available. What's that cost going to be if you want to play GoldenEye, Ocarina of Time, any of the original Sonics, any of the original Mario 2, for example, Yoshi games, and the list goes on, all the different iterations of Mario Kart, Smash Brothers. If you're going to play all those games, how much do you think it's going to cost, even if Nintendo decided, okay, any of our vintage games we're going to make available for say $50. Now, that's very cheap for games. And so if you say to yourself, okay, there's, 20 games I'm interested in. Okay, well, by spending $10 a year more, you get all of them. So, that's 20 years of your life instead of just having the games now, all of them. And so you got to look at it that way. I mainly got this to play Goldeneye, which I'm not embarrassed about. It's a great game. Again, if you're looking for an updated version that looks crisper, where the faces don't look pixelated and cheesy, you're not going to get it here. But if you want a vintage throwback to your youth and are willing to adjust the controllers to get there, and if you have friends you can play with online, then this is absolutely worth it. Love it. Can't wait to play it more. So thanks again for watching. Sorry I haven't been around lately, but I'll be around more often and hopefully get some good content out that you guys like. Thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're able. I'll see you guys next time.